If you're anything like me, each time you play Skyrim, the only shouting you will do is in anger when you get halfway through a dungeon and find out you forgot to save after getting decapitated by a dwarven centurion, and to progress the main story. When I realised this, the question popped into my head: can you beat Skyrim using only shouts? Here are the rules. I can only deal damage using shouts. Let's get started. Originally, I was going to make a Khajiit, but I quickly remembered that when cats shout, it usually doesn't end well for your ears. So instead, I made a Nord named Loud Lucy. After running through Helgen Keep, I make a start on my build for the run. Those of you that watch my videos regularly will know that I have a penance for exploiting glitches in Bethesda games to complete my runs. I usually do this to give myself an edge, but this time I'm going to be using one glitch to make a really fun build that you can try for yourself. Firstly, I'll need some amulets of Talos. The first one I get from Rogvir after watching him get a haircut from a very inexperienced barber. Then I buy one from the Radiant Raiment. After speaking with Ondelamar, I half-inch a third one from Ogmund's house, and I grab a fourth from the roof of Fort Dawnguard. Before I move on to the second thing I'll need, I run through Bleakfall's Barrow to grab the Dragonstone and my first shout, which means running past everyone that's trying to kill me, and watching Arvel the Not So Swift get his entrails pulled out by a skeever. You might be saying, "Oi, invalid, to get the Dragonstone, the Draugr Overlord needs to be killed," which is true, but it doesn't have to be me that kills it, and in this particular case, it's lack of object permanence. After grabbing my prize, the Jarl sends me to the Eastern Watchtower to help kill the dragon. Supervising counts as help though, right? After guzzling down its soul like a cool glass of milk, I decided to head to Sunderstone Gorge to get the first part of the Fire Breath shout. Turns out it's full of necromancers, and they kicked the shit out of me. Eventually, I managed to push through them to get to the shout, and unfortunately, I can't get my revenge on them as I don't have any dragon souls. So I have no choice but to run away with my tail between my legs. One of the other words for the Fire Breath shout is given by Parthenax, so I can't get that one yet. But one of them is in Dustman's Cairn, which nicely coincides with the next step of the glitch. I need to get a transformation power, so I head to the companions to join them. But strangely, Vilkas won't fight me. He just keeps saying,
"What do you think this is? We don't do battle with magic around here, New Blood. Now come at me."
I tried unequipping all of my stuff, holding an axe, and I even tried jumping off the Skyforge to lower my health, hoping that one swing would end the fight. But no luck. So it's off the Dim Hollow Crypt to save Serana. Luckily for me, a dragon decides to attack Riften whilst I was making a pit stop for some potions, and after the guards kill it, I feasted on its soul and used it to get Fire Breath. It turns out that this shout is extremely useful, especially against the leeches. Then after running through the crypt like an arsonist in a match factory and roasting Harkon's best and brightest, I save Serana, then the worst father of all time chomps me on the neck. After gaining access to the Vampire Lord power, I grab Fendel in Riverwood to do the glitch. But I found out I have to get rid of Rogvir's amulet before I can, as it counts as a quest item, which I didn't realise until it was time to use it. Now I'm ready. What you have to do is activate the power and press the talk button at the exact same time, and if you get it right, you'll start talking to your companion mid-transformation. Give all the amulets of Talos to them, and equip them one by one back into your inventory. And voila! You now have infinite stacking for enchantments. I tested this before doing the run, and you can also do it with rings. So if you wanted to, you could also have infinite stamina, magicka, and kill everything in one shot. Now, my shouts aren't infinite because you need 5 amulets to get that, but it recharges pretty damn quickly. Now it's time to make the pilgrimage to see the old codgers. After melting a frost troll, they give me a few lessons, then send me off to do their dirty work, so I'm off to Ustengrav. I had a whale of a time in here, setting light to necromancers and Draugr alike. Fire Breath melted everything in here. After grabbing Delphine's pick-me note, we head to Kynesgrove to happy slap a flying frog, which took a while because even though I was using fire breath, Salakanir breathes fire as well, which means he's incredibly resistant to it. After melting his brain, I head to Lost Tongue Overlook to follow up on a tip about a source of power that I got earlier. I'm not doing this for the shout, despite it being a handy addition to my arsenal. No, I'm doing it for the dragon souls, just in case I need to use them. On the way, a saber cat chomps on my tenderloins, and when I get there, I manage to sneak up on the frog that's guarding it, and surprise him by shooting some fire where the sun don't shine. I grab the shout, turn the dragon into a roast chicken, then I head to High Hrothgar to get the rest of the unrelenting force shout. After getting it, I decided to nick some shit off them, and I found out that Bori has an amulet of Talos, so I robbed it and did the glitch again. So now I have 0 regen time for my shouts. Then because I was being louder than the lighthouse foghorn, the courier gives me another letter from a friend with a tip on where I can get another shout. After this, I decided to wander around for a bit and look for some dragons to kill. Eventually, after a while, I encountered one at Morthal, and this one pissed me off, as I ended up having to chase him halfway across the map because he decided to fly away like a damn coward. After dropping him like a sack of spuds, a blood dragon shows up and tries to turn me into a rack of ribs. Blood dragons are vastly stronger than the standard variant, but luckily I had a discount Stonehenge to hide behind when he spammed his breath, so it became a cycle of hiding from his fire then blasting him with mine. Eventually, after a long-winded battle, I emerged victorious. Then I head to Dead Man's Respite to get the source of power mentioned in the note, which means I get to melt some spiders and Draugr. Then I come across this guillotine trap. This bastard thing gave me so much trouble. It kept knocking me off constantly. After finally getting past Wish.com Sen's fortress, eventually I come to a gigantic throne room full of Draugr, so I burn them all to a crisp. Then when King Olaf appears, I decide to bully him relentlessly. Eventually I get bored of slamming him against a wall, so I set him on fire. Turns out the shouting here was the second word for whirlwind sprint. After this I head to Solitude to prepare for the embassy heist. Now, something to note here is that once I give Malborn my stuff, my shout regen will go back to normal. So I thought I was going to have to be a lot more tactical with my shouts during my daring raid on the pointy-eared menaces, but as it turns out, they are just as weak to fire breath as everyone else is. After turning every single one of them to ash, I grab Esbern's pensioner bus pass, then return to Riverwood. Grab my ship from Delphine's basement, then I use Fendel to stack the amulets of Talos again. I head to Riften, and after murdering the 2 morons guarding the entrance to the Ratway, I use Whirlwind Sprint to get past the bridge so I can head straight to the Ragged Flagon. After throwing some Thalmor dickheads to their doom, I grab Esbern from his hoarder house, then drag him and the thieving rat to Calfspire. Usually I run straight in there, but this time I decided to help the Forsworn kill a blood dragon. Then I murdered all of them for existing. After Esbern reviews the Akaviri art gallery, I jump off a cliff, then pay a visit to Seppo the Clown, and head to Alfland to get the Elder Scroll. And after finding out that Jadar can tank more fire breath shouts than trained elven soldiers wearing armour, which I guess proves the theory that crackheads have unnatural amounts of strength, I throw some Falmer down a chamber, then slam Umana and Sulla against a wall until their organs turn to sludge. After experiencing a glitch I've never seen before, I decide to summon Volthiol, because I haven't done so in a while and a shout only run is a perfect time to do so. But my plan of having a good fight was shattered when he got stuck on these stairs, so I had to blast him from up here until he died. After feasting on his soul, I run to Tony Mazark's tower and grab the Eldritch Encyclopedia. Then I decided to get the Frost Breath shout, because there's only 2 types of dragon, Frost and Fire, and they have resistances identical to their type. So if I have both types as well, I can counter their strengths and exploit their weaknesses. And I can give Alduin hypothermia. The first word I get from Bonestrewn Crest. The second is in Folgunther, which means I have to get through some smackheads and puzzles. And fight a boss, which was killed in seconds. The third word of power I can get from Skyborn Altar. Then I head for the Throat of the World And after Parthenax teaches me the second word of the fire breath shout, I learn Dragon Rend, then I freeze Alduin's nuts off. Which he really didn't like, because the fight only lasted a few minutes before he scuttled off back to chow down on some dead Nords. After me and Ulfric bully Elenwen,
Thou more bitch.
I hitchhike to Skuldafn, and when I get there, I make it my mission to kill everything that moves. Which means I got to spend my time murdering some glorified bats. After putting all the Draugr back in their coffins, I use unrelenting force to try and push Nakarin off the edge of the building. Unfortunately though, he disintegrated before I could see him fall. After trying to throw High King Torig around, Grognak takes a tumble into the void. Then I grab my teammates.
To battle, my friends!
And once the King of the Frogs shows up, I give him Frostburn. And because he's weak to frost, he died faster than you can say Fo Cra Deen. Once his soul flies into the heavens to wander the cosmos for all eternity, with nothing but his thoughts about the loss he suffered this day, Loud Lucy returns to High Hrothgar and begins a vow of silence. Because after all the shouting she's been doing, her vocal cords look like a half-chewed Turkish delight that's been left in the sun for a fortnight. And with that, I beat Skyrim only using shouts. Playing this run was a nice change of pace from my other ones, and being able to launch my enemies into the stratosphere with no consequences was one of the most fun experiences I've had in a while. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe? It helps out the channel massively. Plus, if you turn on the notification bell, you get to watch more juicy content from yours truly when it releases. If you want to support me further, consider joining as a channel member. You get early access to videos and a mention in them for being such a legend. If there's a specific video you want to see, or you just want to have a chat, drop a comment down below, and I'll see you next time.